And good evening, everybody, and welcome in to another Thursday night at Gridiron Gab. We are live from Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. Tonight's Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Gab show is brought to you by Stoner's Pizza. You park 'em, you sell 'em. Texas Border Grill. Kudzu Seafood. Cherokee Brick and Tile. Bill Harden Music. Pond Max Incorporated. Apparel Authority, the Macon Touchdown Club, BT Media Productions. So good evening, everybody. Like I said, we are live here from Stoner's Pizza on a Thursday evening as we start rolling into another football weekend. Don't forget, tomorrow night it is the Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week. We will be live from George S. Johnson Stadium on the campus of First Presbyterian Day School as the Vikings host the Twiggs County Cobras, and that will be our game tomorrow night. And that will be pregame will be at 7:15. Our kickoff will be at 7:30. So we hope you'll join us for the game tomorrow night. This week's pick'em contest. Well, last week it was Georgia and Mississippi State as the dogs throttled the Bulldogs from Mississippi State, and the Dogs look very good doing it. They go on the road this week as they head up to Rocky Top to Knoxville to take on the Tennessee Volunteers, who quite literally, folks, have got themselves on the ropes. And Butch Jones struggled last week against UMass to hold on to the victory in Knoxville. For everything that he did bad, Georgia did twice as good. They opened up the game last week. Jake Fromm on a little halfback option pass on a flea flicker, threw it all the way down the field for a bomb to set the scoring. That set the tone for the night, and the Bulldogs went on to roll in that game. Our pick'em contest last week, as we said, was that game, and we want to congratulate the winner from last week, and that was Russ Campbell of Macon. So Russ got all the prizes, about $80 in certificates. He's got hats and T-shirts and all kind of little goodies coming to him to go along with his restaurant certificates. And once again, we want to thank the folks that are helping us out with that: Stoner's Pizza, Kudzu Seafood, Texas Border Grill, Moe's, as well as the new Freddy's. It's about to get ready for opening. I know their Ray Yarborough is ready for that to happen tomorrow, but had a little weather delay and a lot of wet weather, and that put him behind on construction, but he's about to get that opened up. We also want to thank the folks that sponsor this Pick'em contest each and every week, outside of those restaurants, including Stoner's Pizza here. Let me go over the grand prizes again this year for you in case you've missed it. Each week we do a Pick'em contest, and we pick the SEC game of the week, and you have to pick the winner and the score without going over on the winner's side. And whoever wins that week, their name goes in the hat. Well, the grand prizes this year are this: your choice of an electric or acoustic guitar from Bill Harden Music, a $1,000 Big Green Egg smoker from Cherokee Brick and Tile, and Palm Max Incorporated is throwing in a 12-gauge pump shotgun and an AR-15 rifle. So those are the grand prizes this year in the Pick'em contest. This week we've got another good one. We almost went with Georgia and Tennessee. We've had Tennessee once already. We've had Georgia a couple times. We've had Alabama. We had Clemson and Auburn. We're going back to the village of the Plains of Auburn this week, and we're picking Mississippi State and Auburn. I guess the two biggest games, really, because I don't think Ole Miss and Alabama is going to be much of a contest. I think the Tide is going to roll in their game after they throttled the Vanderbilt Commodores last weekend. They take on Ole Miss in Tuscaloosa this week. I think you may see a similar score to what you saw in Vanderbilt last week. That being said, Shea Patterson may be able to keep that game a little closer than 56-3 or whatever it was last week when they went to Vanderbilt. But we're picking Auburn and Mississippi State. That is our game. It is a big game for Dan Mullen. It is a big game for Gus Malzahn as well. Auburn went on the road, won 51, put 51 points on the board against Missouri last week. Those of you that watch Auburn like I do and all the SEC, they were probably playing the worst football team in all of the Southeastern Conference. Missouri is not looking very well this year at all, and they got some problems, and they've got a long, long way to go. We'll take your calls tonight at 478-550-0524. Or you can email us at gridirongab@yahoo.com. Don't forget our pick is Auburn and Mississippi State. If you'd like, come out and join us at Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. We're here. Come eat some pizzas and wings and talk a little football with us. When we come back after this timeout, we'll talk to Charles Crowley, the owner here of Stoner's Pizza, and get his thoughts on last week in the SEC, and he's going to tell you a little bit about what's going on at Stoner's. We'll take your phone calls as well, 478-550-0524. We'll be back after this timeout.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em. And welcome back to Stoner's Pizza on a Thursday night. We are live here at the Stoner's on Forsyth Road. Don't forget, tomorrow night, the Stoner's Pizza Joint Gridiron Game of the Week will be live from the campus of First Presbyterian Day School as the Vikings get set to take on the Twiggs County Cobras. That game, pregame will be at 7:15. Kickoff will be at 7:30 as we get ready for another high school Friday night. But right now we're live. We're talking college football. We're going to bring in Charles Crowley, the proprietor extraordinaire here of Stoner's Pizza. Okay, first of all, we haven't talked to you since the storm hit 2 weeks ago. I think you were out playing Major League Baseball or something. Softball, that's what it was.
I'm AAA for the Braves
you're
right now.
AAA with the Braves right now. You are an old baseball star, but like so many, you threw that arm out and it was all over.
There you go.
All right, so we'll get an update on softball at another time. First of all, you recovered restaurant-wise from the storm and everything.
Yes, we have. It seems like it's been a little slower than usual, but
we know why.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting trees off of roofs and getting roofs replaced.
Yeah. So my heart goes out to all them people that actually had to suffer through that stuff.
But the restaurant, y'all are back up, fully operational.
Fully operational.
Rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling.
All right, so talk about this week at the restaurant, anything. All right, so we got football Friday night. It's always busy on a football Friday night. Talk about what you got maybe tomorrow, and you've got something good for the seniors in high school. You know, kids around here, when you become a senior, you get to leave the campus and go get lunch. So talk a little bit. You and I talked about this at a little thing that you came up with for all the local seniors to get to leave the schools and go eat lunch.
I'm getting cards to the schools that they can hand out to you. We serve 2 slices and a drink for $3.99. On the card you get, though, your 5th time in, you get a free slice, and then the 10th time you get a free lunch special.
Absolutely. All right. So that's a good deal. Every teenager I know loves pizza. And so come by on Forsyth Road. Now, that's good for Forsyth Road and Warner Robins, or just Forsyth Road?
Just here. Warner Robins isn't open for lunch except on the weekends, and they don't serve slices.
I got you. Okay, so good. So that's for Forsyth Road. Okay, so last week we run down the SEC. Tennessee, like we said, struggled to get past UMass by a score of 17-13. Carolina struggled against Louisiana Tech by a score of 17-16. LSU, a little bit of a struggle in my mind against Syracuse, 35-26. Auburn goes on the road and trounces Missouri 51-14. Florida, they find a way to do it again. They break Kentucky's mind and back and everything else. They go on the road. Kentucky had a 14-point lead late in the 4th quarter, and they came back and let Florida win it 28-27. The Alabama Crimson Tide, of course, just trounced Vanderbilt 59-0. Georgia, on the other hand, they won their game 31-3 over 17th-ranked Mississippi State. And Arkansas and A&M in the early version of the Coach's Hot Seat Bowl, they beat them in overtime 50-43. So I'm going to let you brag on the Crimson Tide for a minute. So you don't call out, don't go to a gunfight with a knife. And that's what Vanderbilt did.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you talk junk about them before you're going to play them? Why you poke the bear?
Yeah, exactly.
Just leave them alone. If you're going to upset them, you're going to do it. You dang sure ain't going to do it if you call it.
Yeah, you don't want to give them bulletin board material. And, you know, I can see Saban when the linebacker came out. Was it the Saturday before that? Yeah, it was after they beat Kansas State. You know, we want Bama. We're ready for Bama.
Yeah.
And he just had to turn to his assistant coaches and said, I don't have to do nothing. These guys are going to be motivated. They're going to be motivated now. So he had to be grinning ear to ear saying, perfect. You couldn't have handed me a better week of practice than what you just did.
Exactly. And you know, on the opposite slate, you know, Nick Saban, he just chastised one of them if they done that on Alabama's team.
Oh yeah.
You don't give the other team fuel.
No, you don't give them bullet points to just that they blow up and put in the offensive meeting room and the defensive meeting room. And you know, if I'm Saban or the assistant coaches, I'm playing that tape of that Vanderbilt guy saying that every practice 15 times a day over the loudspeaker.
Yeah, just letting them hear it over and over.
Letting them hear it over and over. And like you said, why poke the bear? Okay, so this week you first of all, you got to see your young freshman. You had to be pretty impressed with what he did last week on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I like his passing game. You know, he's not quite as mobile as Hurts, but he seems to be able to throw the ball a little bit better, have a little better understanding of the passing game. But he is still very mobile too.
Okay, so let's look at when we're going to take a look here. I wanted to talk to you a second while we're talking about Alabama and talk about looking at some statistics on what you've got to face this week. All right, Jalen Hurts come in. He's 45. He's only thrown the ball 70 times for 550 yards. He's got 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. Shea Patterson on the other side has already thrown the ball 120 times, completed 86. He's got 11 touchdowns. He's got 4 interceptions, but the Ole Miss offensive line has already given up 8 sacks against him. That does not bode well as far as a matchup against Alabama, I don't think.
No. That means that kid's going to be running for his life a lot.
Yeah, he's already thrown for almost 1,300 yards, 1,281 yards. Let's go back the Georgia-Mississippi State game. Did you get to watch a little bit of that game?
Yes, I did. I was very impressed with Georgia's defense. It looks like they are growing up fast.
Yeah, I thought the best point about them, I mean, they came out and threw the long touchdown to start the game. I mean, that set the tone for the rest of the night. But I was just their defense looked really good against an offense that looked so good against LSU the week before.
And supposedly the best quarterback in the SEC, possibly.
Supposedly.
Yeah, and they shut him down.
Yeah, I mean, he had only given up 1 sack, I think, going into last week. They didn't really sack him a lot, but they just took all of his offensive weapons away from him. And one thing you got to like about this Georgia defense, and it reminds me of Alabama and Auburn's defense, and I think those are the other 2 top defenses right now in the SEC. These guys swarm to the football just like those other 2 teams do.
Yeah, and he was so renowned for being able to run and break them long runs, and you didn't see him. They kept him corralled. So.
All right, so thoughts on the Pick'em contest this week, Mississippi State and Auburn. You're going to have to give me a score here on that game.
This makes my stomach hurt to even say it. But I'm going to actually go with Auburn, and I'm going to say 31-17.
31-17. You know, I think this is a important game for both Dan Mullen at Mississippi State, who at the start of the year may not have been considered to be a guy that was really going to have a great football team this year. I think some folks thought Mississippi State 7-5, 8-4, maybe 9-3. I don't think I recalled a lot of people predicting that. But he doesn't want to get on a slippery slope here with back-to-back losses after coming off the big win at LSU. But then again, you look at Gus Malzahn, they laid an egg against Clemson offensively. They laid another egg offensively against Mercer. Even though they put up 600 yards against them, they turned it over 6 times. They played their best football last week, and I think this week they'll be as healthy as they've been all year with both running backs back. But it's an important game and for both of these coaches.
I think Missouri, they got a middle school defense, don't they?
If they're lucky. Listen, I from what I saw of Missouri last week, I said if they played Lee County High School out of 7A, take Lee County in the points because I think Lee County can score on them.
Yeah, it's like they can't stop anybody.
No, they can't. Okay, so let's look up to Knoxville, and I'll let you get out of here. Georgia and Tennessee. On paper, you said this is no contest. Georgia wins it 38-13, 38-10, 41-13. Weird stuff always happens in Knoxville and in Athens with Georgia and Tennessee.
I'm going to stick with Georgia's just going to take it to them.
Yeah,
I think they're going to just keep it rolling. I remember when Nick Saban, his second year, the team had really bought in, and they just had a phenomenal season. They lost in the SEC championship to Florida. But I think maybe that's where Kirby Smart's already at with them. He got that great recruiting class, and I think he's fixing to get Georgia rolling.
Well, the sign of good coaching to me from a staff and a head coach is you see a progression and week to week of the teams playing better. They started at Notre Dame. It was a 20-19. They didn't look really good on offense. You take away the big catch in the end zone, the one-handed catch. I don't know if Georgia gets out of South Bend with a win, but good teams find a way to win,
exactly.
And that's a game that propels them. Defensively, John Kelly comes in leading the SEC in rushing for Tennessee. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. He's got 450 yards, but he's kind of it for Tennessee. I think they got quarterback problems. They need to settle on one guy, and they need to leave him in there. And I don't know if. What's his name, Domedy or whatever. He leads the league in passing, but I don't think they've seen a defense like Georgia's going to throw at him yet.
Yeah, and what's his name? I thought it was like Normandy or
it's Domedy or whatever.
But I think the talent at Georgia, and he's coaching them up pretty good. I'm gonna go 24-10.
24-10.
And I think that might be closer than what it's actually going to be.
Yeah, and I think you're conservative on the points on the Georgia side. I don't think Tennessee can hang with them offensively. Maybe we'll just have to see. I mean, they got destroyed by a rushing attack with Georgia Tech. It's going to be interesting to see what Georgia decides to do with Sony Michel and Marshall and some of those other guys.
And y'all's local guy,
Chubb, rather.
Yeah, y'all's local guy, Jake Fromm's just been,
playing lights out, brother.
Playing like he's a veteran senior almost.
Yes, he is. All right, so Charles Crowley invite folks to come out tomorrow night. High school
Come on out
football.
and see us.
Friday night. Need to come by and get you some pizza before you head off to the ball game. Tell them where to contact you here by phone.
You can give us a call at 478-254-2500.
Delivery and takeout.
Delivery and dine-in.
And dine-in, obviously. Okay, it's the Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week tomorrow night. We'll be live from the stadium on the campus of First Presbyterian Day School as the Vikings take on the Twiggs County Cobras. Charles Crowley with us here. We'll be back after this timeout. We'll talk a little SEC football with you. We'll be back.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, the authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia, has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at U Parkham You Sell 'em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. U Parkham You Sell 'em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, U Parkham You Sell 'em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at U Parkham You Sell 'em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at U Parkham You Sell 'em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. U Parkham You Sell 'em, the car lot for you. Remember, folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's U Parkham You Sell 'em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
And welcome back on a Thursday evening. We're live from Stoner's Pizza. It's another edition of Gridiron Gab. As I said, we're live at Stoner's Pizza on a Thursday night. Our pick'em contest this week is Auburn and Mississippi State. Last week it was Georgia and the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and the Dogs just throttled them last week. And let's go back to the phones, and let's welcome in this week's guy that thinks he's going to win it all, and that's none other than Mr. Jim Harden. How are you, sir?
What's up, Mr. D?
Well, I'm looking back at the scores from last week, and unfortunately you didn't win, but your thoughts on Georgia and Mississippi State from last week first.
Well, the only thing that comes to mind is the 85 Bears.
The 85 Bears, you mean doing the
Georgia defense. That's what all the Georgia fans think anyway. But
they're as deep and as strong as Bama now, baby.
Big victory against Mississippi State. They hadn't won an SEC title. They couldn't even win one with Jerry Clower played.
They couldn't beat Brett Favre either at Southern Miss.
That's right. I don't know. Georgia looked good, but I think Georgia is in a good spot, but not necessarily because they got a great team. But I think they got a good team. I don't know if it's great, but I think they got a favorable schedule. They're sitting pretty right now. But I wasn't totally surprised by that result last week. Yeah, I just, especially when they kind of jumped on them early. You know how that crowd gets geeked up there, and it kind of steamrolled on Mississippi State.
All right, I want to talk about two teams that I can't seem to figure out. Well, there's three of them. Let's quickly touch on a couple of other games, and I'll come back to that. Poor old Kentucky, man. They just cannot find a way to get it done.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. In that situation at home, they would just give that game away. I don't know what that really says about them, but if they end up losing some more ball games, just kind of being the same old Kentucky, they're going to look back to that. That's just not good.
All right, the other one that I think all of a sudden is starting to struggle a little bit too. Obviously, South Carolina, they lost their big wide receiver. They struggled against La Tech. A lot of people hearing rumblings in Gamecock Nation now starting to already question the Will Muschamp hire, and the guy's only been there for 16 games now, 15 games?
Yeah, I'm not a huge Muschamp fan, but, they went 6-6, made a bowl last year. I mean, they're going to win 6 or 7 games this year, and probably under not great circumstances, talent-wise, playmaker-wise, especially losing the receiver. But I think the Gamecocks just need to keep doing what they're doing and just let Muskam run its course. I got a feeling it might be better than people think when it's all said and done.
Okay, we'll come back to the Tennessee UMass. They struggled in that game, but I want to touch on them when we get to the games for this week. LSU and Syracuse. Syracuse was 2-1 coming into that game. LSU had to outscore them late in that game, late in the third and late in the fourth, to pull that one out 35-26, rather hang on. Got outscored by Syracuse in the third quarter, 16-14. Rumblings in LSU think going to start with old Coach O at LSU.
Well, it's probably premature, but my gut tells me that's going to end up not being the right hire. I don't know why they don't get an offensive guy down there and just take advantage of all that talent and speed in the state of Louisiana and just score 50 every game on people. I don't get it.
Well, I think because historically they've been so defense-oriented like Alabama.
Well, that's right, but that's what I'm saying. I think if they ever got an offense like we all think they could have, given the fact it just seems like defense is ingrained in that program, it just seems like it'd be a deadly combination. But they've never been. It's never just seemed like they've always had a missing piece of the puzzle on offense, don't they?
All right, so Alabama, Charlie Crowley from here at Stoners, big Alabama guy. We talked to him a second ago. I think we're all under the agreement. What in the world was Derek Mason thinking? And not that he could necessarily control this because the kid shot his mouth off after the win against Kansas State, but why would you poke the bear at Alabama and tell them, we want Bama, we're ready for them, we're ready on defense for them? Why would they do that? I mean, Charlie and I talked about that. Saban had to have been grinning from ear to ear when he heard that because he had to turn to any of his assistant coaches and say, well, guess I won't have to get them up for this week's game.
Well, that's right. Vanderbilt's a different deal. I mean, they're trying to, James Franklin, I guess, did a good job up there of kind of making those guys think they were better than they were and winning a few games. I think that's what he's trying to do, but that looked like that backfired on him for sure.
Texas A&M and Arkansas, obviously the hot seat bowl. And we'll talk about Tennessee and Auburn in a second. Which one of them guys is going first, Sumlin or Bellema or Belima, whatever his name is?
I don't know. I think Belima's first because you got to give Sumlin a little credit. At least he's a good-looking, fit guy, That darn Belima looks like he needs to reduce that pork chop intake.
Yeah, we're going to dress him up and make him the new mascot for the Making Bacon, baby.
That's right.
Well, yeah, but now if we're going by wives.
Yeah, well, that's true,
He's the Charlie Weiss of the SEC, isn't he?
I'll have to Google Sumlin's wife. I think he might have a nice-looking wife, too, but I'll leave that one alone.
I don't want you to get in trouble at home. This is on tape.
Yeah.
Auburn goes up to Columbia, Missouri, dismantles the Mizzou Tigers. I told somebody last week if Missouri plays Lee County, take Lee County in the points.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know that we learned a lot more. Hopefully Auburn got some confidence out of that deal, but gosh, Missouri sure look like they're not very good.
Yeah, they're really bad, and not only is their football program bad, and we don't want to get into politics here, but I mean they've just had all kind of problems up there at the school with the protests that were up there last year. Gary Pinkel resigning over it. You had administrative people fired or resigned. The school population is down. Was it something like 10%? On-campus living is down over 30%. They've actually shut down some dorms up there. So they've got a multitude of problems at Missouri, and I'm not for sure they're going to necessarily turn it around. So finally, Tennessee and UMass. Tennessee in Knoxville struggles, wins a game. I think the final was 17 to 13, and it was 14 to 13 going into the fourth quarter, late in the third quarter when Tennessee got a field goal. What's going to happen with Tennessee and Georgia this weekend? Now, on paper, it's a 41 to 10 or 13 game, isn't it?
Yeah, it just seems like, and I'm not going to pretend to be a great analysts when it comes to the matchups and everything. You would think, though, looking at it, that Georgia would have a big advantage. But at the same time, unless Tennessee is just totally – unless Bush Jones is just gone and lost the program, you would think maybe they would somehow circle the wagons a little bit. They're at home. Georgia coming off a big emotional win. Maybe, just maybe, they can figure out a way to keep it close. But if I had any money to bet on it, I think Georgia's going to win by 3 touchdowns.
All right, Alabama and Ole Miss. That game going to be – surely Ole Miss can play them a little better than Vanderbilt did with Shea Patterson behind the line of scrimmage there.
Yeah, they'll score a little bit. Bama will still win by at least 3 touchdowns.
All right, and finally we're going to closest to your heart, farthest from your head, the Auburn Tigers of Mississippi State. Statement game. You and I talked about this last weekend when the scores finally and the dust had settled. Worst or best thing could happen, depending on who you pick. Auburn goes to Missouri, gets a big win. Mississippi State goes to Georgia and lays an egg with Georgia's help, of course. How does that affect the outcome of this game?
Well, I've talked about it. I think if Mississippi State has got – obviously they're not as good as some people thought they were, but if they have a good team, just say that Georgia game was a little bit of a, not representative of who they are, and they end up having a good season, a good team. If they're a good team, they will come back and they'll play very well, and it'll be hard for Auburn to beat them. You don't want to face a good team coming off a loss. And Auburn's coming off of, what ended up being kind of an easy win. Auburn is at home, so that you would think that'd give them an advantage. So I think it's going to be a pretty close ball game. I think Auburn is going to win, but it'll be a struggle.
More of a statement game from Gus Malzahn or Dan Mullen. I picked Mississippi State a 7-5, maybe an 8-4 football team this year. Just because they were young and they had a new offense and new quarterback and all that kind of stuff. Auburn seems to get everybody back this way. If you believe the rumors, Petway's going to be back. Kerryon Johnson's back. If those two guys are at full strength, and considering how bad Auburn played at home against Mercer 2 weeks ago, this to me is a really important game for Gus Malzahn.
Yeah, if he loses, it's going to be bad. But if he wins, he still I think has got some hurdles ahead of him. But got to win this game for the sake of the season, and maybe for the sake of his job.
All right. I agree. I think it's a must-win for Gus Malzahn. Dan Mullen needs to win it because I think he was on a little bit of a roll there till he went to Athens, and maybe he got brought back down to earth. But I think the Auburn fan base is really going to get really their patience is going to be awfully short in this game if he starts looking bad offensively.
Yeah, it is. And there's a different expectation at Mississippi State talking about Mullen. I didn't realize. I think this is his 9th or 10th year there. Doesn't seem possible, but the guys, it's not Vandy, but it's still a pretty tough place to win. Win big. I think he's done a good job. I don't think anywhere, but Gus may be.
All right, so we're picking Auburn and Mississippi State. So give me your score.
I picked Auburn, I think 27. I talked to you earlier, 27-17 or something maybe.
2017. You think that's going to stick with it?
Yeah.
All right, close game. So who the Blue Hose got this week?
Blue Hose got the Wofford Terriers. They got a big victory against Cumberland. We were hoping to score 226 against Cumberland, beat them worse than Georgia Tech did back in the day, but it didn't happen. But the Blue Hose are back, baby.
All right, so they got the Wofford Terriers. Wofford's lost one game, or are they undefeated?
I think they may have lost one.
Got a tall.
Totally different. I have a hard time. I'm just not smart enough to keep up with it. It's a different deal. When I was at PC, we were in NAIA, but it's different now. But Wofford PC's always been a good battle, so maybe the Blue Hose can get it done.
Okay, well, I'm going to hold your word to it. A lot of high school football tomorrow night. There'll be some good games around, and I'll probably see you at the stadium tomorrow night.
We will look forward to it, sir. War Eagle, thanks for having me on the show.
You got it. See you next week.
See you.
All right, Jim picks it 20-17. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We'll continue our pick'em contest. It's Auburn and Mississippi State. Our number is 478-550-0524. Get your calls in and get your picks in. And we'll be back after this message, and we'll see if we can't find the big dog himself, Brett Barron, and see what his thoughts are about Tennessee and Georgia. We'll be back after this timeout.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em. And welcome back to Stoner's Pizza on a Thursday night. I'm Russell Deese. Appreciate the calls we've had so far. Visited with Charles Crowley, the proprietor here at Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road, our home every Thursday night from 6:30 to 8. We want to talk about and thank once again our sponsors, Stoner's Pizza, of course. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em. We also want to thank Bill Harden Music, Cherokee Brick and Tile, Pawn Max Incorporated, Apparel Authority, Kudzu Seafood, Texas Border Grill, also the Macon Touchdown Club, as I said, BT Media Productions. We want to talk about, first of all, a couple of things about a couple of our sponsors. Apparel Authority here in Macon. Folks, if you need embroidery, caps, shirts, promotional tees, promotional items, they have an in-house graphic artist to help you with all your design needs. All your embroidery and screen processing is done right there in-house. They don't send it off and have it made by somebody else. You know, they cut out the middleman when it comes to that. They are the official clothier for DSPN Sports. They're also the preferred provider for Mercer University and the Bears. So we feel privileged to have them as a part of our team this year. Don't forget, we'll have some DSPN Sports hats and T-shirts coming for you for the folks that are winning the prizes each week. Our game this week, as we said, is Auburn and Mississippi State. Mississippi State coming off that loss to Georgia. Let's quickly run down the schedule for you this week in the SEC. In the East, it's Florida versus Vanderbilt. It's Kentucky has Eastern Michigan. Will they have another letdown this week after the heartbreaking loss to the Florida Gators? Missouri is off. South Carolina is at Texas A&M. Florida and Vandy, that's going to be interesting. A lot has gone on in the last week for both of those schools. The felony charges came out against the players at Florida. You can be guaranteed that some of those guys are not coming back. Vanderbilt coming off the awful loss to Alabama, which they got hammered. So it is going to be interesting to see some of these matchups and how these teams respond. Even South Carolina coming off, and they've got to play A&M. A&M coming off that overtime game against Arkansas, in which they won it. On the western side of things, it's Ole Miss, the Rebs visit Bama. Arkansas is at New Mexico State. LSU has Troy, and Auburn and Mississippi State. And let's go back to the phone lines, and let's go to none other than BB Dog himself coming in to talk about the big victory up in Athens last week. My man, Brett. What's up, buddy?
Is this the Making Bacon Hotline?
This is the Making Bacon Hotline. Listen, you got to quit giving me crap about the Making Bacon. I'm excited about that. And that's another, we're going to talk about that another time because we're going to have the president of the Making Bacon's going to be on with us next week, and we're going to talk a little bit about that during football season because it is going to be exciting. $2.5 million renovation coming to historic Luther Williams Field, and so we're going to talk about that. I'm excited about it, and I think it's good for Macon, but right now tonight we're talking football. So, all right, let's hear it. Dogs are ready. They're deep and as strong as Bama now, right?
No, we're close.
Come on, man. That's not what I heard all over social media last Saturday night.
Not from me.
I didn't say you now. Wait a minute. I didn't say you. I just said that's what I heard on social media last weekend.
Matter of fact, I had a post saying, hey, guys, we're not there yet. We're on our way, but we're not there yet. And that's what Kirby is absolutely preaching to those kids right now at this moment. We got a tough game in Knoxville, I guarantee you. I think the line's 7.5. Man, I'm worried about it. I'm not really worried about it, but you got to worry about every freaking game, and because you go on the road. This series is like 23, 21, and 2 in favor of them, and I think the last 5 games go down basically to the last possession. We all know what happened last year. I don't even want to bring up that nightmare again, but I'm telling you, I think if we played the way we did last Saturday, we could win by 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. Your defense plays like it did last week, and let's face it, I'm not for sure that Tennessee is capable of with Quentin Dormady at quarterback. He's thrown for a lot of yards already. I mean, he's almost at 900 yards. He's the 4th-rated passer in the SEC as far as yardage goes. But I don't know defensively if Tennessee has faced what they are going to face against Georgia. I think this will be their first test as far as that. I think Georgia is right up there, or if not better than Florida. We'll see how that plays out through the year. They're still a young team. They're better on defense, obviously, this year than they were last year. They're playing lights out as far as I'm concerned defensively so far. I do think you've still got a little bit of offensive struggles going on.
Yeah, I think the defense is as good as anybody's. I really do. That's what we were saying. It's so fun. It used to be we'd try to win a shootout, and now it's like I can't wait to get the defense on the field. Rokon Smith, number 3, is a freaking beast. His speed through that hole is phenomenal, man. It's unreal. And then you got, he's just one of them. But it's just so fun to watch the speed and how they tackle on defense right now. And I think that's going to hopefully carry us through some very tough times. From's going on the road for his second. Well, actually, to me, this is the first road game because we took over South Bend. It was basically a freaking home game. Nothing else, a mutual game.
Yeah,
this is his first. tough test with 100 and something thousand orange hillbillies in the stands. You know, so it's gonna be a tough environment. I mean, I've been there. The place is crazy. I've literally been there in person. I know how crazy it is. But at the end of the day, I think we win. I don't know what the heck Kirby's going to do. He keeps talking. I know he's being politically correct about Easton's going to be hopefully ready to play and all that. But, I mean, like everybody on this planet, how do you take a kid out when you're winning? I mean, that's stupid. Yeah.
I don't think that Tennessee's going to – I just don't see Dormady at quarterback. He's struggled at times. He's been sacked a bunch. He's been pressured all year. Now, John Kelly, their running back, is as good as anybody in the conference in open space. I think that guy is a really great running back, and he leads the SEC in rushing right now. Defensively, I think, like you said, Georgia's obviously much better squad than Tennessee. I'm going to be honest with you, Brett. I do not think Georgia's defense is equal to Alabama's defense yet. I just don't think they are. I think they're probably close to Auburn's and better than Florida. I think Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, and then Florida, LSU, the top 4 defenses in the country. Would you disagree with that? In the conference,
No,
conference, I mean.
Right. No, I'm not going to say we're. You know, I know the stats. We're giving up 11.5 points a game and under 300 yards a game, and it's like you say, 3 or 4 in the conference. But I mean, for us, it's phenomenal because what we've been through. And again, I go back to the last, I don't know, 5-6 years. We always had to outscore people, you know, and that's a crapshoot at best. So it's nice to know, you know, you got a defense you can rely on, and you put up any points. Of course, we hung 31 on Mississippi State. And that game was basically over after 2 possessions. You know, the stoning them on defense and the flea flicker pass, that game was basically over.
Yeah, once Georgia got up 14 points in that game, the train was a rolling, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the defense, I thought, shut down a really good offense in Mississippi State. From what I'd seen to that point, and that's all we had to go on was what Mississippi State looked like in their first 2 or 3 games, and then the way they rolled LSU. Yeah, I mean, you really thought that was a good offense coming in there, and they probably are. But I agree with you. This Georgia defense is on the cusp of really making some noise and being a difference maker in the conference this year. And listen, everybody likes to talk about offensive putting up points. You look at Alabama in the last 7 years; they won the conference outside of anybody else, and they're winning with defense, so it makes a difference.
Oh yeah, what's the saying? Defense wins championships, absolutely, in all levels of football. But
well,
it's great to have a little balance to me, actually. I mean, because I don't think our offense is flashy at all, but I mean, we did put up 400 yards against them, 31 points. You know, it's adequate. I think Fromm is going to keep developing. Hopefully, they're going to let him throw the ball. I mean, I can't believe he threw 12 passes. Matter of fact, he threw one, you know, out of bounds because nobody was open. Then the other 2 were drops. He could have been basically perfect the other night. And I mean, it's just. I like it because he's a local kid. Again, I have nothing against Easton. I mean, I know he's got the tools. But it's going to be freaking interesting the next few weeks what's going to happen there. I mean, Kirby's got a tough road to hoe. What did he do? He recruited away from Alabama. And, of course, everybody knows Easton is a Mark Richt recruit, and that's why there's rumors all over that he's going to transfer to Miami. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, you know, this story has not been written yet. I know that Fromm has played well, but he is a freshman, and there's going to come a game that he's going to struggle in, and you and I both have no doubt about that. That game is coming for him, but we don't know what game it's going to be yet. So I think it's premature for any of us to speculate what's going to happen with Jacob Eason as of yet, but you make valid points. I mean, you think, you know, the kid's too talented to ride the bench at Georgia. If this situation was to occur, Kirby's not going to let him go to another SEC school. May let him go on a scholarship, but, you know, like you said, you and I talked about maybe him ended up in Miami if this situation was to occur, or go to a West Coast team. How about UCLA? Josh Rosen's leaving. Would he be a good fit out there in that offense? Of course he would. But
yeah,
Yeah, let's see how this plays out, though. It's a long ways to go in this season, and we'll see how it plays out. I agree with you, though. You can't set prom down. Absolutely no way in hell you're going to do that.
No, and I'm again don't even wish to transfer upon him, and that's really the social media gossip, if you will. I'd love to actually have him at our disposal, because you're right, From's going to struggle. I have a feeling he may struggle this Saturday. And if Easton's healthy, that's the main thing. If he's healthy enough to get in there and rescue him, if you will, that would be a heck of a situation.
Well, yeah, and then you go back to a weird situation. Let's say Fromm gets in there and struggles, and then all of a sudden, and they're struggling in Knoxville, maybe fall behind. Easton comes off the bench and rallies the troop. Then what do? Then you flip the tables. Then you flip it on the other quarterback. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch. But you know what? As a Georgia fan, it's a good problem to have, brother.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. I absolutely totally agree. I'm so sick of reading people say that this guy should do this and this guy could do that. Hey, we've got two capable guys. Let's see what happens. But again, with Fromm winning, there's no way you sit him down. I mean, that's just.
All right, so
third grader could figure that out. So come on.
Okay, so a lot of football last weekend. Some of it very ugly to watch. Some of it pretty good to watch. Outside of the Georgia game, your most favorite game last week?
I didn't watch a whole lot, to be honest with you. We were after golf. That's crazy, and I've watched the replay of the A&M Arkansas overtime game. That was bonkers. And then I call him Mullet Man getting beat. Okie State getting beat by TCU. That was pretty good.
TCU's hot.
And then we watched, just my heart right after our game. We're actually at the end of our game where we're going back and forth to the Kentucky-Florida game. I mean, my gosh, man. Seriously, 31 years in a row. Wow.
All right, so the Pick'em contest this week, we were going to go with Georgia and Tennessee. I just felt like I'd get too many Georgia picks in this game. I think this is a little more difficult one to pick, so we picked Auburn and Mississippi State. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good pick. I saw it when you texted me, and of course I struggle with all my picks. I've won one time in 100 years, but I need to. You can't go over. Matter of fact, I think Campbell won last week. Do you have any idea what he picked on our game? Because that was 31-3. What did he pick?
I don't. I've got the notes somewhere. I don't have them in front of me. But so you can't go over on the winner's side, and then it's closest to the actual score. You look at the actual winner's score and his pick. You subtract the point differential from that, and then the loser's side, his pick against their actual score. That gives you a point differential on that side. You add the two together, and you just go down the list, and whoever's the least on the point differential wins it.
Right. No, I understand all that, but I mean, the 31-3 blowout, that's hard to. It could happen again with Auburn. I mean, Auburn's ready to explode. It is it's on the Plains, right?
It is in Auburn. That's correct.
Okay. Oh my gosh, man! I'm toying with this 28-17. Nah, I think they're gonna give up 31-17 Auburn.
31. Let's see if you're in here. 31-17. You're in with that pick, brother.
Yep, that's a bold prediction saying State's going to give up 31 2 weeks in a row, but I think they might.
Okay, so final thoughts on Georgia and Tennessee. What's your pick in that game?
Man, I tell you, I probably, unlike some Georgia fans, and don't misunderstand me that I don't hate Florida, that I do, but I mean, I really, really hate Tennessee. Deep down, I think we'll probably win by maybe 10.
All right, now you talked about Georgia losing to them last year with a Hail Mary. Don't forget the hobnail boot up there. Georgia was beating that game, and they threw it late and beat them. There's been some crazy games in that series.
No doubt about it. Of course, I went way back when and sat on the very top of that crazy stadium. But yeah, it's a good trip. We're going to take as many tickets as they'll sell us. And I heard a guy a while ago from Macon. Actually, some guy named James from Macon was on Fine Mom saying they were headed up to Knoxville right now. So that's great to hear. And there'll be a lot of dogs there as always. It won't be anything. They're not going to sell out like Notre Dame did.
No, they're not going to do that.
Down, but I think it'll be a heck of a game. I can't wait to play a game at 3:30. Man, we've had 4 night games in a row, so we got a ton of people coming over here, and can't wait for it. Can't wait.
Well, I hope it turns out well for you, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
See you Saturday on the dog deck.
Yeah, man. Holler.
I'll do it. All right, that's BB Dog Brett Barron. He picks the dogs 31-17. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk some more about what's going on around the conference. You're listening to Gridiron Gab. We are live at Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road and on DSBNsports.com. We will be back after this timeout.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, the authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia, has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, "Oh my, what a pizza pie!" Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
And welcome back to Stoner's Pizza on a Thursday night. We are live at Stoner's on Forsyth Road. We're taking your phone calls at 478-550-0524. We are talking about the SEC schedule this week in the East. It's Florida versus Vanderbilt. It is Kentucky versus Eastern Michigan. You got to wonder if Kentucky's going to ever bounce back from that horrific loss to Florida 31 years in a row and had that game won. Missouri, they're off, thank God for them. They got to get ready for the rest of the season, and it's going to be ugly. South Carolina plays Texas A&M. A&M coming over off of that overtime win against Arkansas down at Jerry's Palace. Ole Miss travels to Bama. That'll be ugly. I think Alabama wins that game probably by 30. Arkansas takes on New Mexico State. Bellman's in trouble, I think, in Arkansas. LSU takes on Troy. A little bounce-back game. They struggled against Syracuse last week. Georgia goes to Tennessee, and Auburn hosts Mississippi State, and that's the two games we're really talking about here. So let's go back to the phone lines, and we got Larry on the line. Larry, how are you?
Doing good tonight, Russell. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for calling and being a part of the show tonight. All right, let's look back before we talk about this week. Let's look back last week, and let's hear your thoughts on what you saw up in Athens last week.
I saw total domination. I've not seen a game like that from University of Georgia in a long time. In fact, I talked to an old Bulldog from the 70s, Jim Griffith. I told him it looked like him and Ben Zambezi was out there playing defense with Eric Russell.
I tell you, it's a young defense. They've matured. They're a year older this year. You got to be impressed with what they're doing. I still think Georgia has a little work to do offensively, and I think they've made this a little narrower playbook because of the way Fromm had to come in to lead the offense this year. In that opening game, I don't think they've opened up the playbook yet, but you can start to see it expanding on that side of the ball. But I agree with you. The Georgia defense, I think the top defenses in the conference right now are Alabama, Georgia, and Auburn, and then maybe you can look at LSU and Florida after that.
Well, Russ, I don't want to interrupt you, but the thing about Georgia, I'm not a fair weather friend. I go with they play good, they play bad, they play mediocre. I'm still a fan.
That's right.
And I'm not going to get off of them. But the thing about it, I'm not ready to go to the World Championship or they're going to win the National Championship. I'm not there. I want to see that defense. I think it's looked good, but we haven't really. We played Notre Dame, but who knows what Notre Dame. They won 4 games last year. Mississippi State really looked unbelievable against LSU. But I want to go 2 more games, and then I'll get on the bandwagon with the defense is awesome and all that. They played a total domination game last week. I give them all, but you got to follow up it. And I'm not seeing a good game in Tennessee for many, many years that the defense was out there and they played a complete game. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that defense to back it up. One more game. I thought it was a great game against Mississippi State. Fantastic game. But I want to see another good defensive game Saturday. I'm going up there, and one of the reasons I called in is I've got 2 tickets that Jim Griffith's got, and I'm trying to help him sell them. He's selling them for face value, and for the Georgia folks is $105. So he might take a little less, I don't know. But if anybody wants them, call you, and you can get in touch with me, and I'll be glad to hook them up with 2 tickets to the Georgia game.
Since we're doing buy, sell, or trade radio here, why don't you give out a phone number they could reach you at if they wanted those tickets?
All right. It's 478-731-9866.
9311. I appreciate you doing that. I put them on Facebook. Had a lot of people, had 4 people call me, or not call me, but Facebook me and say, I want those tickets. Can I have them? I said, yeah. And then they called me back and said, oh, I didn't know it was going to be in Tennessee. I said, where did you think it was going to be? In Athens? But anyway.
Hey, well, listen, that's what happens when you got all that sidewalk alumni, man. It's just
there you go.
They're not paying.
Right
They're not paying as close attention. All right, and I agree with you. And let's go back to football. And I hope you sell those tickets. Because I want to, I'm all about the community and helping out. And,
there you go. Thank you.
And but let's talk about that because Georgia and Tennessee, this has turned into a strange series over the years. We just talked to Brett about this. I mean, Georgia was behind and threw the touchdown pass, a hobnail boot, and then Tennessee comes in with a Hail Mary. And there's been even weirder ones. So, I mean, I kind of agree with you. I understand from a guy that's got a lot of football sense like you guys do that call the show and I talk to every week. You're looking for consistency, but I tell you what I've seen out of your Georgia program, I've seen improvement every week, and that's a sign of a good and a well-coached ball team.
Well, I agree with that, but, I've seen some good defenses. I've seen Auburn play some really good defenses. Y'all's offensive, it's been
anemic.
And I'm gonna give you my total. I'm picking Auburn against Mississippi State, but I'm picking a very low score, 17-14.
All right, hold on one second. 17.
And you write this down now.
If you're
Auburn.
Listen, dude, you got to get on the. You got to get. You can. You can watch us on that 100 screen inch TV you got at the house right now.
Right.
No, you can. We have a YouTube live channel. All you got to do is go to the app and you can watch us every Thursday night. And you can watch the football games in listen to that in full HD, baby. This is like it's DSBN, but we're like the other 4-letter guys. Okay, 17-14. You're in. Nobody's picked that score. We got a couple of other ones that are close, but you're in.
It's going to be a low one. I really think the two defenses are going to play tough. I hope Auburn comes up and, has some type of offense. I believe they can find it. They just hadn't found it. It just hadn't clicked this year. I haven't really seen an offense.
No, and this will be the first week they've got everybody supposedly back healthy. But I'm like you. I've got so much doubt in everything that Gus Malzahn tells me from week to week. I'll believe it when I see it. But how about a score in this Tennessee-Georgia game? I mean, on paper, I'm picking it.
I'm going to give you a score, but this is what I don't want to see. If you remember the last 2 meetings in Tennessee, we lost 2 to knee injuries 4 years ago, and a year and a half or 2 years ago, we lost Chubb there. So I'm hoping that
you shouldn't have brought it up.
Knee injury.
Don't bring it up.
I know, but
you just jinxed them. Just jinxed them.
I know. Early in the season, I don't want to see nobody get hurt, but I saw Marshall go down 4 years ago, and I saw Scott Wesley go right in front of me, and it was terrible. But anyway, I believe Georgia can score against Tennessee. I think Georgia's going to score 35 points, and Tennessee's going to score 19. I don't know why I came up with 19, but just 19.
Why not?
And people are already starting to text me, Russell, so thank you for allowing me to put that on there.
Well, you're welcome, and I hope you do sell the tickets. I think it's going to be interesting in Knoxville. They struggled last week. I don't know. Do they circle the wagons? Either Butch Jones circles the wagons this week, or I'm not for sure Tennessee. He hadn't lost that football team, so we'll see. They
always get up for Georgia. They always. I don't care what kind of team they've got. They play Georgia tough, and I feel like they'll play them tough. But I believe at the end the defense is going to outwin because I haven't really seen a real strong. I mean, you look at the first half of the Florida-Tennessee game, there was no offense there. And then you go the second half, we had nothing but offense. I just don't understand sometimes in the SEC how you can make a adjustment and then all of a sudden everything starts clicking and you start putting up points. But it seems like it happens a lot of times.
Let me ask your opinion on something real quick, and I've asked people this after week 2. end to end, conference to conference. Is the SEC down a little bit this year, in your opinion?
No, not as much as I felt like it was last year. Definitely, I felt like we got, now we got going. It seemed like in the some of the bowl games we got a little bit better, but at the end of the year we lost to Tech. That just wasn't a good feeling. It just felt like we just couldn't. I mean, I think Florida lost to FSU. Was that right? And then of course Auburn, Alabama. I mean, the end of the year it just felt like, besides Alabama, a lot of the teams were going into their bowl games not really looking as strong. So I don't believe we're down this year. I think Ole Miss is going what they're going through. Arkansas, golly, I can't figure that team out. That team's got so much ability, but then they one game they look really good and look offensively. Next game they don't. So I don't understand that. South Carolina, I think South Carolina's on an upswing. They didn't have much last year, but they look better this year. Florida, golly, losing 10 ball players, and a kid got in a bad accident today. So that's
he was
11.
He was one of that suspended group.
Oh, he was one of the 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're probably going to be seeing 7 of those 9 are no longer going to be a part of the Florida football team.
Oh, yeah, and I don't want to mix up a little basketball too, but my gosh, look at what's going on in basketball today too. I mean, I've been on the internet all day.
And that's starting to spread.
It's just been terrible, man.
I didn't see anything late this afternoon. But it's
Alabama,
yeah.
And I hate to bring Auburn in the mix, but Auburn too.
Hey, it's in there. Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino should have been gone for a while back.
And Feinbaum is predicting that the football coach is out of there too. Not necessarily because of because he has no protection or whatever, and he's going to go somewhere else.
You're talking about Petrino?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the deal on that. His contract is written, if the AD from Louisville gets fired, his buyout gets cut in half. And how that got written into the contract, I don't know. But, Louisville gave him the second chance by this guy that was the AD. He's the guy that hired him out of the Arkansas problem. But the deal in his contract is if the guy at Louisville that was athletic director gets fired or leaves or gets terminated, whatever, his buyout clause that people are going to have to pay Louisville gets cut in half. So, and then it goes from $5 million to like $2.2 million, so a little less than half, and which is nothing in today's money. Here's a scenario, love him or hate him, the guy can coach offense. Could you imagine him at a place like LSU that has the defensive talent they got if they could wake up and get an offense?
Phenomenal. I agree. Look, I was in Oklahoma during the time he was in Arkansas, and Oklahoma has a lot of ties with Arkansas. A lot of people go over to Arkansas because they're really close to the Tulsa area and all that. So there was a lot of Arkansas folks there, and what went on with him, and I know it was bad, but yet a lot of people were like, let's forgive him. He got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. His wife would take care of him, and he'll have to appease her and ask for forgiveness for her. If she forgives him, why can't we? And, a lot of people were ready to actually forgive him and let him go on. But, they started detailing, and he gave her the job, and he did this, and he put money in, and it just got uglier and uglier and uglier. And, with social media, that's going to happen. These coaches are going to have to stop a lot of stuff because social media will just open up everything. But I want to say this before I go, and I know I've said a lot. Russell, I appreciate what you've done for Middle Georgia. For the sporting industry, you have really taken on a lot. And from the Touchdown Club, I came in there about 5 or 6 years ago, and I have not had but nothing but great things about things that have gone on with the Touchdown Club. I appreciate your leadership and the leaders of the Touchdown Club for the Middle Georgia area, because I have seen really people taking high school ball and really trying to do something with it, and I appreciate that, brother.
Larry, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was fun Monday night with Jerry Glanville, wasn't it?
It was funny. It was good. I just wish we could get more, a new generation, younger people than you and I, that will come in, hear the old. I mean, I sat with Pug one day, at the the Mercer thing when we did the kickoff classic.
Right.
I sat and listened to some of his stories about the SEC and being coached by Wally Butts. Man, it was just like, this is phenomenal. I got to hear from a guy that played for Wally Butts, played at the University of Georgia, and talked about his I mean, it was just great. And I told him last Monday night, I appreciate the fact he's around. But, we're losing that generation that people ain't going to get to hear some of the stories about Goose Steiner and Billy Henderson and coaches we used to have here in Middle Georgia area. If we don't get more people to come and experience the Edgar Hackers and people like that we need to get them to understand what's going on in the Middle Georgia area.
I agree with you 100%, and it's the days now where these guys that are in their 30s and 40s and late 20s. I'll tell you what part of the problem is now the kids play athletics year round. And, they just don't have the time in their schedule. We've got all these modern conveniences. Look, I'm broadcasting a show live in thin air, and you can watch it live on your TV at home, and you don't have to be plugged up to nothing but the internet. And you can do the same thing with our football games on Friday night. That's an amazing thing that has morphed in the last 10 years, what we can do now. I mean, 15 years ago, you would have had to have had $100,000 worth of tickets of equipment and an FCC license to do what I'm doing now. But you don't have to do it. Okay, Georgia.
Right,
wait a second. Wait. Georgia, Tennessee.
Okay.
Georgia, Tennessee tickets. One more time. Give your number out. Somebody wants them.
478-731-9311. And it's an old Bulldogs ticket. Jim Griffith. He needs to get rid of them.
Okay.
Got two for Tennessee.
Okay.
Thank you, Russell.
So next week I want to know what you want for the dryer and the old stereo.
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna get you a load of wood where I told you to get it. That's what I want to do.
I've tried
Talk to you later, man.
3 days to get over there and find it. But thank you, Larry. I appreciate you.
All right, talk to you later.
Okay, bye. All right, that's our good friend Larry. Call in. He predicts the Dogs to win up in Athens 35-19. He also picked Auburn over Mississippi State. We'll take our final timeout. We'll be back. You're listening to Gridiron Gab, live from Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
And welcome back to Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. Russell Dees, Gridiron Gab on a Thursday night as we wind it up. First of all, we want to thank our sponsors. Stoner's Pizza Joint here. Don't forget our Stoner's Pizza Gridiron Game of the Week tomorrow night, live from George S. Johnson Stadium over at the campus. FPD as the Vikings take on the Twiggs County Cobras. That'll be at 7:15. We kick off at 7:30. Once again, our sponsors, Stoner's Pizza. You park them, you sell them. 3306 Bimal Avenue, the car lot for you. Look, folks, don't go trade your car and get wholesale for it from a dealer. You don't want people coming by your house and calling you and your emails and getting hacked and all that kind of stuff. Go see the fine folks at You Park Them, You Sell Them on Bimal Avenue. They've been there 22 years this December helping you sell your car and we would appreciate you going by there and seeing them. Texas Border Grill, don't forget tomorrow night. If you can't make it to the game and you go out to eat at Texas Border Grill, my good friend Mark Coley will have the game live tomorrow night on the big screen, one of the screens in the restaurant. Kudzu Seafood, Lee Clack the same way. Lee will have he's got a 100-inch projection screen. He'll be showing the game live tomorrow night, as well as Stoner's Pizza here on Forsyth Road and Stoner's in Warner Robins. I want to thank Cherokee Brick and Tile, Bill Harden Music, Ponmax Incorporated, the official apparel provider for DSBN Sports, Apparel Authority. Don't forget them for all your corporate or any of your needs, embroidery, silkscreen tees. They do it all in-house. The Macon Touchdown Club. Monday night, our guest will be Paul Johnson, the head coach of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. That's at the Methodist Children's Home on Forsyth Road. Dinner starts at 6:30 with our program soon to follow. Guests are welcome. It's $30 as a guest. Why not join today? Find out more about it. Go to MaconTouchdownClub.com. We also want to thank Brandon Thompson, a man that handles all the production duties here tonight, and BT Media Productions, BTMediaPro.com. Stoner's Pizza Game of the Week tomorrow night, 7:30 next Thursday night. We'll be right back here at Stoner's Pizza. We'll see you tomorrow night from the stadium. Our time is up. We thank you for yours.